I never imagined things would fall apart the way they did. One moment I was brushing him off, calling him too sensitive, and the next he was zipping up a suitcase, leaving like I was nothing more than a stranger passing through his life. My name is Emily. I'm 27. If I had the chance to erase just one mistake, it would be the night I chose to defend someone who had no right to my loyalty over the man who truly loved me. That's where everything started unraveling. It goes back a couple of years on a lazy Sunday morning. I was running late to brunch. No surprise there. By the time I arrived, Noah was already finishing his second mimosa. He grinned and tossed me one of his usual lines. Something about how I even managed to make lateness look good. That was Noah in a nutshell. Always playful, always familiar. He had been around since high school through every heartbreak, every chaotic night, every wrong turn I ever took. He was the one I could vent to at 2 a.m. The one who always answered when the rest of the world was silent. We had kissed a couple of times in the past, but it was never serious. At least not for me. Noah was the fallback, the safety blanket I never questioned. Then came Jacob. Jacob wasn't flashy or loud. He was steady, gentle, a man who had a way of making the noise in my life fade into quiet. He was a civil engineer, but the way he spoke about bridges and roadways, you'd think he was reciting poetry. We met at a wedding when he accidentally spilled wine on my dress and apologized like I was royalty. That small moment turned into coffee, coffee into dinner, and before long into something real. Those first 6 months with Jacob were like living in a dream. He remembered how I liked my coffee. He brought me flowers on random days. He helped me through meltdowns without ever making me feel like a burden. For once, I felt seen. He even welcomed Noah into the picture, at least at first. But Noah didn't make it easy. He'd mock Jacob behind his back, calling him Mr. Spreadsheet, joking that he would always be my number one. I laughed it off, but deep down, maybe I laughed because some part of me wanted it to be true. Jacob never exploded about it, but I could see the unease. Sometimes he'd ask softly, "Did you ever have feelings for Noah?" and I'd dismiss it with a laugh. Of course not. He's just my friend. But the late-night texts told a different story. Messages would pop up at 1 a.m. inside jokes, old memories, callbacks to nights Jacob didn't know about. I'd silence my phone and turn it face down. I told myself it was just to avoid pointless arguments. But if I was honest, I knew it was more than that. The breaking point came the night I lied. Jacob's birthday was around the corner and I told him I had to stay late at work. Instead, I was at Noah's apartment. We didn't cross any lines physically. Just watched a movie, but the way Noah leaned in and whispered, "I miss how it used to be," stirred something I didn't want to admit. The next morning, Jacob made pancakes and kissed my forehead like he always did. I wanted to confess right then, but I swallowed the guilt. I told myself it wasn't that bad. Not bad enough to ruin everything. 2 weeks later, Jacob looked at me with the kind of clarity that made my stomach twist. "I love you," he said, "but I need you to block Noah. Not to control you, but because it feels like he's sitting between us, and I'm tired of feeling like the outsider in my own relationship." Instead of listening, I laughed at him, mocked the request, called him insecure. I'll never forget the way he just nodded quietly, stood up, and walked toward the closet to pack his things. His calmness terrified me more than any shouting match ever could. I begged. I cried. I screamed. But Jacob didn't budge. He said softly, "This isn't just about Noah. It's about the way you made me feel small for wanting a boundary. Like I was weak for needing respect. I'm not weak. I just know what I deserve." And with that, he left. No slam door, no angry goodbye, just silence. That night, Noah came over. I thought maybe his presence would numb the ache. But he was distracted, glued to his phone, barely listening. He didn't stay long. And in that emptiness, it finally hit me. Noah had never been my anchor. He was just a distraction, the thrill of something reckless. And when the secrecy was gone, so was he. Weeks passed, then months. Jacob never reached out. I wrote him a long, desperate email, pouring out everything I had held back, but he never replied. Friends told me he had moved into his own place. Started working out. Even posted a picture smiling with his sister's dog. Meanwhile, I fell apart. That's when I cut Noah out of my life completely. Deleted the texts, erased the photos, and started therapy. I forced myself to face the damage I had caused, to stop hiding behind excuses. It's been 9 months now. I'm dating someone new slowly, carefully. But Jacob still lingers in my thoughts. Not because I want him back, but because he showed me what true love looks like. Love that draws lines in the sand. Love that refuses to beg for respect. Love strong enough to walk away when it's no longer safe to stay. For the longest time, I thought blocking someone was petty. Now I see it for what it is. Strength. Sometimes cutting ties isn't about punishing someone else. It's about protecting yourself. Jacob wasn't being weak when he walked out. He was being brave. And when he closed that chapter, he wasn't giving up on love. He was finally choosing himself.